Hi, this is Holly and Bly at 34 Vampires, and thank you for joining us on our adventures. So at this point we're still in Manchester, and we had intended to go the next day, but unfortunately the day after it was sort of pretty wet and windy, so we ended up staying for the 2 nights in total in the end. And so we had a bit of a wander about, did a bit of shopping, and then it was time to go up and do the turn. But as you'll see in the video, we all kind of got a bit grounded, all 3 of the boats, and also as well you'll see here the little critters that kept keeping us awake every night. There were no end of Canadian geese where we were moored, and being mating season and them being a bit territorial and everything, they were incredibly loud, incredibly noisy, and waking us up multiple times a night. So we were still travelling with Nigel, Lynne and Crystal, and so we had obviously 3 boats between us, and what we didn't know was that it was quite shallow in the turning area. Not only was it quite shallow, but it turned out that there was a big log that was actually underneath the water there as well, that we were later told had been there for about a year. So although I didn't actually catch it on film, Nigel's boat actually tipped by about 20 degrees when it actually hit the log, and all 3 of us actually got grounded there as well. So you'll actually see in a minute where we get stuck as well, because our boat just really didn't want to budge. As the other 2 boats had had problems, Nigel had kindly come aboard and took over the tiller so that Bly could come down and try and distribute the weight, which was really helpful. Because by Bly coming down onto the bow, it was taking weight off of the stern but also adding weight to the bow, and doing this was able to help the stern to actually lift slightly to try and help with the grounding issue. Crystal and her aunt, who was travelling with her, had already topped up with water a few days before at one of the marinas on our way there, and so it was just Nigel and Lynne and ourselves that needed to get water from the water point before we started tackling the 9 locks that go through central Manchester. You can see here as well Crystal's boat, and she's facing towards the first lock because she was ready to go through, so she went on ahead and we caught her up later. At this point we didn't know exactly where the water point was, so we were just following Nigel, but as it turned out it was to the left of the video at the moment, and there was a cruise boat there, so they actually had to move in order that we could get into the water point, so it was a bit of a jiggery pokery moment for a little while. So now it's time to turn round again and start heading under the tunnels and bridges and everything where the 9 locks are. So this was something we really weren't looking forward to, because we've been told they were particularly hard locks, and we've only done, I don't know, something like 15 to date by the time we got to these. And so yeah, so really glad that we had company on the way through, and they were double locks as well. So if you've been in a double lock as a single boat, you know that the boat gets moved about more in the water once the paddles are open. So it's actually really nice that we had the company and we have both the boats going through at once. You can see here as well on the left that the left-hand gate isn't opening very well, and this was a case for a few of them, and unfortunately we did hit Nigel's boat going through one of the locks, which wasn't Bly's fault. It was all to do with one of the lock gates again not opening fully, and there being a bywash on the left right before. It was quite a strong one that had actually pushed the boat straight into Nigel as Bly was trying to come through on the left. You can see here as well, the locks aren't just leaking. The paddles here haven't even been opened yet, so they're not just leaking, there's actually water coming over the top of the gate as well. Not sort of right over the top of the gate, but at the water level, the top level water is sort of coming through the gates as well. And this was the case for all of the locks that we went through that day. Walking through, I'm out of breath, walking through one of the tunnels to lock number 2. There's loads more today. Oh. Bit of a collision. What? The... This next lock was one that we really weren't looking forward to because it was in a tunnel and we'd been warned about it. We were told it was a bit dodgy from the point of view of some of the people that hang about in there as well. And for a lot of the time that we were in there, there was actually a guy in there in his anorak smoking roll-ups that was just hanging around. And so yeah, it's just, you just got to watch, you know, sort of like women going through and things when they're on their own. but everything was okay, and Bly had come up to help with one of the locks as well. Yeah, because that was a particularly stiff lock, that one, and that was one of the toughest ones. And you can see here as well the pillars ahead, so there was nowhere actually to put down a mooring line at all. And so because of that, both boats had to hover about in that sort of gap, waiting for the next lock to be done so that they could go in. In light of that, I don't know how a solo boat would actually be able to go through on their own without somebody actually helping with the locks, because obviously they can't get off of the boat, and if they can't get off the boat, they can't go up and do the next lock for themselves. These particular lock gears were so stiff, it was absolutely ridiculous. They were like it both sides, and if Bly hadn't have been there, we would never have got the lock open, because it took all of his strength to be able to do it as well. We couldn't get them to budge whatsoever. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give us a like, a thumbs up and share, and of course don't forget to subscribe. And our next journey will be going through the 18 locks, I think it's 18 anyway, on the Rochdale. And so keep posted and hope to see you again.